I'm Shadish. I'm going to take a case study about Sputnik 2 from satellite communication. Let's go on the topic introduction. Sputnik 2 was the second spacecraft launched into Earth orbit on 3rd November 1957 and the first to carry a living animal. A Soviet space dog named Laika died on the fourth orbit due to overheating caused by an air conditioning malfunction. Launched by the USSR, Sputnik 2 was a 4-meter high cone-shaped capsule with a base diameter of 2 meters that weighed around 500 kilograms, though it was not designed to separate from the rocket core that brought it to orbit, bringing the total mass in orbit to 7.79 tons. It contained several compartments for radio transmitters, a telemetry system, and that's all. Then we go to the mission profile. Sputnik's 2 launch vehicle has several modifications for the mission. These include modifying the launch trajectory to use propellant more efficiency and removing some flight control components to reduce weight. In addition, the core stage would be burned to propellant depletion instead of cutting off at a present time. The telemetry system at engine cutoff would be switched from monitoring the boosters parameters to those of the capsule. It was also designed to only transmit data for 10 times at a time every 90 minutes. And then during the first 2 orbits, it provided difficult to reliably track Sputnik 2's flight path, but ground controllers were able to intercept theodolite data from an American tracking station in Perth, Australia. Data showed that Laika's heart rate and breathing spiked rapidly during ascent, but she otherwise reached the orbit largely unscathed. And then we go to the passengers. Next topic: the first living creature to orbit the Earth was a female mongrel originally and named Kudryavaka, but I later renamed Laika. Her true pedigree is unknown, although it is generally accepted that she was part husky or other Nordic breed and possibly part terrier. NASA refers to Laika as a part Samoan terrier. Next, we go to the impact. The time after Sputnik 2 was tense for the Americans and exciting for the Soviets. The day after Sputnik 2 went into the orbit, the Gaither committee met the President Eisenhower to brief him on the current situation. The committee, like much of the US, seemed to be in a panic afraid that they were falling so far behind the Soviets technologically that it would put them in danger of a strike using nuclear weapons. Unlike most of the US, President Eisenhower kept calm through the time. Afterward, just he did after Sputnik 1 was launched, according to the one of the president's aides. Then we go to the topic Sputnik 2 and the Van Allen radiation belt. We going to know about the Van Allen radiation belt. He could be received the name Vernov belt after son Vernov from Moscow State University. Sputnik 2 detected the Earth's outer radiation belt in the far northern latitudes, but researchers did not immediately realize the significance of the lighted radiation because Sputnik 2 passed through the Van Allen belt too far out of the range of the Soviet tracking stations. In Australia, Professor Harry Messel intercepted the signals. Other stations in Australia and South America had also been in range and intercepted the signals. However, the Soviets would not realize the code that would allow the stations in Australia and South America to read the signals and without the code. And then re-entry. The Sputnik 2 re-entered the Earth atmosphere on 14 April 1958 at approximately 200 hours on a line that stretched from New York to the Amazon. Its track was plotted by British ships and 3 moon watch observations from New York. It was said to be the glowing and did not develop a tail until it was latitude south of 20° north. Estimates put the average length of the tail at about 15 nautical miles, 93 km 58 miles. The satellite burned up in the atmosphere. Then these are the reference. I thought, thank you.